It is October 2023, and we have got fake money burning real holes in our fake pockets, and we're ready to talk about spending it on MTG in a fake way.
I like how the holes that are being burned are real the fake money and fake pockets. That makes sense.
I'm in pain right now. Yes.
That's right. And we have some cards and products that we would want to buy if we had to spend that money. Let's talk about them. $10, $100, $500, $1,000. Let's get into it. Hello, and welcome to The Day.
Thank you for spending your time with us.
I'm Jake.
I'm Joel. Welcome back to another episode of Jake, Joel, and Magic. We have got what we are buying for the month of October.
This is hypothetical money. If we had money, we had to spend it on MTG. What would we spend it on? Most of you who watch the videos are not subscribed. So if you do want to support the channel, it's a great way to do it by subscribing. It does a lot more than just sign you up for the next video. So the first pick today is Flawless Maneuver. This is a card that got as high, and I'm looking over here on MTG Stocks. Shout out to MTG Stocks. The Commander 2020 version of this card, which came out alongside Ikoria, if you'll remember, this card got as high as nearly $25. I actually see an all-time high here of $29.87, just under 30. So this card, just having been reprinted in Commander Masters, has gone through a big price adjustment. But what we know, cards like Fierce Guardianship, cards like Deflecting Swat, and now this one, which shout out to Jarina, who sits on shelves, came out in the Jarina deck. This card got very expensive as well because, you know what? Having your commander on the battlefield and being able to give creatures you control indestructible until end of turn at instant speed, well, that's pretty good, man. That's pretty good. And now this card has gone through an even bigger adjustment. If you don't want that special version we were just looking at, you could even get this card for $5. This card is great.
Yeah, this card is great. This is a great treatment of it, especially at the price point right now. It's crazy to me how Indestructible has fallen out of relevance against Hexproof. People now would prefer Gains Hexproof until end of turn over Gains Indestructible, but this still has a lot of play, especially in decks where you're trying to go wide, you're trying to really fill up the board with stuff. You want that backdoor protection against a Wrath. So this is an excellent pick and an excellent price for us, especially how beautiful this is. I'm just really a big fan of this one.
And you can see that massive drop off in price from the pre-sale time on this card. It's just wild, like the fact that this, even at a pre-sale time, was as high as $60 for a foil or $25 for a non-foil. You can see once a set comes out how huge the adjustments are on these cards, and so pays to wait.
For my $10 pick, I am going to fully embrace my Reanimator phase, as I have been doing all year, and I'm going to pick up a copy of Archon of Cruelty. I have been putting off picking up this card. It's like the best Reanimator target, you know, one of the best for sure. It's in the conversation because it's got an ETB and an attack trigger after that. That's pretty brutal across the board. You can see this one's kind of gone up and down, 11 up to 15s and down. This one can still see some play in constructed formats and tournament formats as that quick Reanimator cheat onto the battlefield kind of card. It plays a really big role in some decks like that when they are prevalent in the format, and so a lot of times the price of this is going to ebb and flow in reaction to that. Additionally, with any sort of like possible reprint talk, no reprint talk, because this is going to be a card that people want to target with Reanimator spells. I really like it at $10. I'm just finally going to pick up a copy. That's what I'm going to do with my $10 level this time around.
I like this pick. This is a card with a big casting cost, but it comes with a big ability. And yes, you can get any sort of reanimation type ability on it to get it on the battlefield, cheat it out there. I really like this card, and I kind of like, I follow what you're saying as well. When I look at that chart, at this point, Modern Horizons 2 has been out a while, right?
Yes.
It feels kind of stable. It feels like it's like, there's not much more bottoming out to do. And when you look at the foil price, for example, that's actually going through a bit of an uptick. So this is one of those cards, probably it's not going to be reprinted for a while. Modern Horizons 2 brought tons and tons of variants into of this card. It has a sketch treatment, it has this treatment, it has its normal foil treatment. So this probably isn't going to get a reprint anytime soon.
It feels like a card that even if Modern Horizons 3 comes around, it wouldn't take a spot in that set. Instead, they would wait till it gets up solidly to that $15, $18 range and drop it in a secret lair. That's kind of how this feels like it would be reprinted in the future, but I like it at $10 right now. I think it's a safe pickup.
Yep, I like it at $10 as well.
Jake started the $10 level, so I'm going to start the $100 level off with a foil etched jeweled lotus. The price right here, market price. I'm a little over the $100 level. Don't sue me in the comments. I'm not prepared for a lawsuit right now, but I am prepared to pick up a foil etched version of this card at the price that my boomer brain remembers this card being before it started rising. So I'm super comfortable with paying $100 for a card that it's going to correct back up over time, because Jeweled Lotus is just not something they're going to pull out of the coffers to reprint very often. It is a wild year of major heavy hitter finance cards getting reprinted, but you have to imagine at some point that tide is going to be stymied and stuff's going to start to creep back up. And that's why I want to grab this card right now for $100. A little more than, just a little more.
There are even rumors, there are murmurings possibly of Masters products going away. That is not confirmed, but with all of this weird, what product is premium, what product isn't premium, should Masters products have set and collector boosters compared to normal sets? We don't know the future. We've seen everything that they've done so far. But what we do know is that etched is like this tier up from our normal and foil treatments of cards. I already know people that are building full etched decks. They're just waiting for certain cards to get an etched treatment so that they can make the entire deck an etched thing. And so as more and more cards get the etched treatment, cards like Etched Jewel Lotus, in my opinion, become more desirable. Also, this card just came out, so we can see it went through a massive adjustment in price. When you look at the chart, it was as high as like $260 in pre-sale. Now you can see once these cards start to make it into the wild, you get that big adjustment in price. And so now, yeah, we're getting down to it says a $135 near mint market price, but what we're seeing are prices as low as $108, prices as low as $105 with 99-cent shipping. So yeah, keep an open mind. And again, it pays to wait. Joel, I love this pick from you at the $100 level.
I don't know that I've waited long enough. Typically, we would recommend waiting longer than the window between Commander Masters coming out and me making this pick. But it's my brain. I'm comfortable with this card in its base copy at $100 valuation. And so I'm definitely comfortable with what has turned into the premier version of cards that people want. The foil etched cards have just been more expensive than all the other versions, with the few exceptions. And so I just really like this price, even if the potential exists for this to drop into the $95, $90 range as people forget about this set, you know, especially when like Ravnica Remastered's coming out and people are really trying to allocate and pick up singles there. But right. I'm comfortable with the price is my point on this one.
So for my $100 level, we're going over to the Spooky Drop 2023, and we have 3 different IPs that we're going to cross over with. The first one is going to be all of the Creep Show cards, all non-foil. So we're going to go Creep Show non-foil, which is a fun crossover. There it is. $29.99 for this one. You get some fun cards. You get this really cool comic book looking treatment. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to go with Princess Bride. Princess Bride, also non-foil.
Never heard of that.
In this one, yeah, let Joel know in the comments. He's never seen Princess Bride. We already had a bunch of people unsub because of it. Let him know that he needs to go watch Princess Bride. This is a bigger secret lair. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Street Fighter. You get some very fun cards that
Stranger
are iconic
Things,
from the movie.
Kinda.
Yeah, kind of like Stranger Things. You get a lot of cards in this. You get bad stuff like Battle of Wits, but you also get cool stuff like Silence. Only $30 for all of these cards. And then the other one that I would go with is Evil Dead. And with Evil Dead, it's just another fun IP crossover. We don't know what the secret card is going to be. There's some speculation that it might be Ash's chainsaw. We don't know. But what we do know is we get a Field of the Dead in here. We get some other fun cards like Pure Steel Paladin. Get this neat treatment that first came out ages ago in Ikoria and then was abandoned during Walking Dead and is now back because it actually is great. I would get all three of those. Those would come out after tax and shipping right at around $100. The fun thing about Secret Lair, I don't see a big adjustment on these prices to the upside, but I also don't see any sort of adjustment on these prices to the downside. I see these as kind of staying exactly where they are, and I would be buying them because I like them.
If you wanted to spend $66 more, you could also get all of those random angels that they picked, a bunch of basics, and then a Progenitus, some cards, and an Emrakul. So
hey, that's not not a bad idea.
Basically, they tossed in the old Emrakul on this one. Nah, you were also getting the run of lands down here, 2 or fewer. You're getting all of the Dalek lands in that bundle. Just something to consider when you're looking at these secret layers, y'all, is when you do purchase, say, if I spent a little more money, could I hate Joel and Jake for doing not financial advice even more?
A lot of these collector products that come out, they come out at a big price, around the $250 market price, and then they go through big adjustments. And all of these boxes that I'm talking about today have gone through a big adjustment to the downside from their all-time high. The first one is Dominaria United Collector Booster. Dominaria United Collector, there it is, $141.85. Because of the big Legends push of these packs possibly having cards from the set Legends, which is one of the very first sets that came out. This product had a huge inflated price of around $250, but I actually like it around $141. The other collector product that I have in my $500 level is Brothers War at $189.12. This is another product because of the serialized artifacts. It had a ton of hype behind it, but now you can see a box that got as high as I believe 275 is now down to 189. And you would be also surprised to know that I would add a Zendikar Rising, which is right above the Brothers War box. I would add a Zendikar Rising box to this as well. These 3 collector boxes, all which came out at $250 or more, have now all dropped to the $200 level or less. And that puts these 3 products at around $530. MTG, it's no surprise it is in a bear market right now, which it has to do with overprinting, and it also has to do with economic factors. But collectibles in a big way have really dialed back. And so a lot of these boxes that were kind of expensive are now going through big adjustments, especially as we have stuff like Commander Masters that just came out. We have Doctor Who. We have Lost Caverns of Ixalan. We have every new MTG product coming out. Joel and I, you didn't see it, but we were actually joking around about how we have missed so much of the Doctor Who stuff just because it's so hard to keep up with everything. And so when you look at these boxes and these box prices and you see, wow, if I had just waited like a year to pick this up, I had no idea. Well, the proof is in the pudding and we're seeing it. And now you could get what would have been $750 or more worth of stuff for right around $500.
Yeah, that's talking if you want to buy these boxes at the lowest point, considering if they have a lowest point. Because if you do want to aim and just like play the lottery, and you want to aim to hit the big card and flip it immediately, you got to do that like basically before street release anymore. You've got to kind of figure out a way to get it sold before people are actually opening it in mass, or it's going to crash. But yeah, I love these. The thing that sticks out the most to me in the $200 Zendikar Rising, you are guaranteed to get 2 expos in that box. And so that is kind of a nice piece here, whereas you can see the price of the Dominaria set much lower because the rate of hit in the Legends was much lower, and everything else from that release was just that standard set. Didn't have a cool set within a set. No other reprints.
You got shouldered in there.
Right. But past that, you can see this one hitting up near the Zendikar weight class because you've got excellent artifact reprints and chances at serialized stuff in this set. And so, yeah, I like these as long holds. I'm assuming you're not saying let's buy these and open these, right? These are buy these, put them on a shelf.
This is just, buy these while they're going through big lows is kind of where I'm at. We don't really know the future of collector products. I know that Wizards of the Coast is going to continue printing variants, but we don't know if they're going to figure out different ways to do business in the future. So I still like some of these products as buy and hold. I don't see prices going much lower on them. And if they do go lower, I don't see it being a big dip from here. We're already in the dip.
Talking about how much we cover this stuff, Jake, it's crazy. This isn't even all of them, but looking at all of these collector booster boxes right next to each other and just being like, damn, we have picked all of these apart and just covered all of them. We skipped Infinity. Let's be honest. We skipped Infinity.
I was about to say.
Let's just be completely real. This one we did not cover at all. But all these others.
Look at that new Capenna. Look at that new Capenna display down at the bottom. $99. $95 per vow.
Well, what they're seeing now, that's why they've created the guest spot. And we're getting a little off topic here, but they've created the guest spot as a thing so that they can basically have Masters reprints in any individual set, because they're seeing the sets without reprints don't do well. They don't do well over time because they are just printed into the dust. It doesn't matter how many special frames you provide for the cards in the set. If the cards in the set are not cards that people want, it is not going to drive the price. So it is what it is. I like those picks though.
Thanks. Now you have to tell us about your $500 level.
Let's go. I want Jace the Mind Sculptor. I would not typically go for a card like this. I'm not kind of a all-in-one collector. I'm mostly like a buy-to-play person in general. Jake is really the collector in this relationship. But for this one at the $500 level, I'm in on it. And let me tell you why. I've got notes over here, okay? This Jace the Mind Sculptor was, first off, this art is from Wizard of Barge. I'm a huge fan. Really have loved all the work that Wizards has done for Wizards. Haha. And this version of Jace the Mind Sculptor looks super dope. That's just on the surface level. This was the participation promo for the 2023 Pro Tour. There were foils for the top 16, and then everybody else in the tournament got a non-foil. So if you made top 16, you also got a foil on top of this, and the foils are way pricier. If we go down here and we just click on foil, there's only 2 available, and they're both selling for $3,000. That's not what we're picking with the $500 level today. We are picking the non-foil version. Here is the math on this. There have been about 200 players in every tournament, between 200 and 300 players in every tournament. There were 3 of these tournaments this year. Pro Tour Phyrexia, which had 218 participants. March of Machine Pro Tour, which had 252 participants. Pro Tour Lord of the Rings, which had 268 participants. And then the World Championship was the 4th tournament where you could have gotten this as the participation promo. That had 105 participants. That means that 843 people total received these this year. You add in another 20% for versions that they just have sitting around in WotC Office. I think it's safe to guess that around 1,000 of these exist. Period.
I was going to say maybe 2,000 of them max. Say there's another stack of them that's just
exactly. And we don't know. I'm not a fortune teller. We don't know if this is going to continue to be a participant trophy for the next year of Pro Tours, or if they're going to change it up, if they're going to give these out in some other way. I'm just saying right now, analyzing this in a vacuum, this seems like a very scarce card. It's not the most playable card anymore, but it is a very iconic card. And so that kind of makes up for the lack of playability in today's game. But at $500, and you'll see I'm kind of undershooting. We're able to pick up 366, 0%. I don't know if I trust that, but it's maybe worth a flyer. Here's 100% with 50,000 plus at 389. That's all you got to pay, shipping included, and it's in your hand. So you're under your $500 level. You're getting an iconic card in a dope treatment by a sweet artist. And if the assumption math plays out there are not that many of these in the wild, and I feel like when collectors in mass kind of identify that, this card will go up in price, especially as we get further away from the year in which it was a promo and they're not as fluidly moving around. So this is right now, I think, a cool place to take a flyer on a card at this level, around this level, somewhere around that $500.
I love the color palette on this card. I agree with you. Jace has kind of fallen out of the limelight. It's a little bit slow for modern. If it ever came back in modern in a big way, it made it into control decks, I could see this being, you know, like a 2 of or a 3 of, or however many Jaces people like to run in a control build. But Commander really is the lifeblood of MTG. Used to say it was modern before Commander really took off, and modern was a really, really robust format, but now it's a lot more affordable, which is really cool and great for players. But Jace is just a little bit top heavy at 4 mana. However, like Joel said, iconic card, completely agree there, and you can see already big adjustments in price since more of these have been making it to the market. But this could just be people shedding extra copies, or they might just not want this card. And yeah, if we do get to a point where, you know, the collectors start to gravitate towards stuff like this, we don't know what it's going to be like in a few years. So it's already lost what looks like, geez, almost 50% of its price since it debuted. So that seems like a nice discount.
Yep, you can see those prices up, 600s, 650s, still above 600s. And then around July, it starts dipping into 500 territory, and it's just been downhill from there as we've had more Pro Tours happen, right? We've moved away from Pro Tour Frixie and March of the Machine. Now we've had 2 more events where this is a promo. So that's where right now I think I'd be interested to drop $500 on one card, hopefully get a pristine version of it, get it graded, and put it away. That's kind of what I would do with this card for sure. This would not be a buy to play for me.
It would be fun to jam into a cube. It's a really, really pimp version of Jace, but it is very expensive.
Proxy version is $2.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, homies, we have made it to the final level. We are at the $1,000 mark, and I am looking at Masterpiece Mana Crypt Watch. I am on watch. Mana Crypt Masterpiece, you're on notice. We all know what's happening. You're not special anymore. You're getting somewhere in the realm of 8,000 versions being printed of you in the next set. We have got Masterpiece falling in price. Get on the water slide with me, baby, and let's go downtown. If this got to $500, I'm buying 2 at 1,000. This is a card that is going to go down in the short term because people are going to panic sell, and rightfully so. WotC's been all over the place with their reprints lately. They see a new set previewing and they see 18 different versions of the same card and they freak out, and I think that's completely fair. But what that means is that the time is ripe to get in on the low prices of all of the falling things. And so at my $1,000 level, I would take a $1,000 bill, I would put it in my hand, and I would watch the price of Mana Crypt fall. Then I'd pull the trigger at a certain point, and I would have money left over. Be great.
You buy when there is blood in the streets. That's what they say.
That is what we're trying to do here with Mana Crypt. Masterpiece Series Kaladesh Invention version. You're on notice. I'm watching you. You better keep it cool, because I'm coming for that ass.
Oh, God. All right. So I really like this pick. I do believe that Commander is going to remember the variants that were difficult to actually get. I'm not saying that pulling a serialized card is easy, or that pulling one of the big money hits in one of today's current products is something that's simple to do. But these are a different time. This is a pre-variant era card. Know that that's a term we use over here, which means it came out before Throne of Eldraine in 2019. And this is a card that is very difficult to find. Came out of draft boosters of Kaladesh, and you had to get real lucky to find one of these cards. And then if you did find one, you had to get super lucky and find the right one, because there were some Masterpiece cards that were just not that good. So to pull the mana crypt, to pull the soul ring, to pull stuff like that, you had to get an extra layer of luck. I think Masterpiece cards maybe showed up in 1 in 4 draft boxes, 1 in 5. So you really are playing the lottery with opening draft Kaladesh, because cards like this destroyed the price of those draft products. So there are not a lot really good cards in sets like Kaladesh and Battle for Zendikar outside of the Masterpiece cards and the Expeditions, or in Amonkhet, Hour of Devastation, the Invocations and that kind of thing. So best to buy it in a dip. I do like this idea. I would say be very careful, because people have tried to counterfeit these cards, and there are a ton of proxy versions of these. But if you find a reputable seller, you might be able to nab one at a really good price, and then you can ride the wave back up when things start to recover.
That's what I'm
Fingers
saying.
crossed.
That is what I'm saying.
We've made it to the final pick, and it is at the $1,000 level for me, a moat. A moat from Legends in English. If you were to go on MTG stocks, you would see this card got as high as 3,400 at one point. Just absolutely shenanigans. Realistically, though, this card was around $1,500 realistically to get it. And now with these big adjustments, it has come back down for Italian versions, sub 1,000, and for an English moderately played version, right around $1,000. So this card was out of range, and now it is back in range for our what we'd buy. And if I did have $1,000 and I had to spend it on MTG, I would go with the moderately played moat from 1994's Legends.
Yeah, this is the one right here that we are kind of leaning on for this pick, y'all. This sold August 31st. Moderate play. You can see the moderate play. It looks very moderately played. Right at $1,000 from a reputable seller. So I like this pick. Reserve list stuff. Can't go wrong. Always a pickable card, in my opinion.
Right? If it got up to like 1,500 at one point, and sure, it had some sort of absurd spike up to the $3,000 range, probably for some sort of like near mint graded 10 version that somehow got in the system and maybe threw things off. For a card that was maxing out around $1,500, $1,600,
yeah,
to come all the way back down to 1,000, you know, anybody who bought it 1,600 might be kicking themselves. But for me, if I were, you know, in the market for a card like this, this is around the price I'd be willing to pay. I wish I had bought it ages ago at around 400, but so it goes. We can't go back in time. I can't go back to 2016 and be like, oh, please, I should have bought a moat instead of buying all this Oath of the Gatewatch and in Kaladesh trying to find masterpieces. I should have just bought the sure thing. But here we are, and that's how hindsight works.
Check that pinned comment down below. If you are shopping on TCG Player, please click that link down there before you do it, and it helps us out at no charge to you. Other than that, let us know what you thought of our picks and what you would be picking to purchase at these different levels in the month of October.
That's right. Nothing on this channel is financial advice. This is all just for entertainment and good old funsies. If you liked our picks, let us know. And yeah, we'll see you in the future. Let us know what we should cover. Is there something that we missed in the MTG sphere that's going on? Let us know about it.